listening to the Droematic Show podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Droematic Show podcast. This is your host, Droematic, and joining me now, one of my favorite up-and-coming comedians, Mr. Chris Reed. Chris, what's good?
What's good, man?
Nothing much.
Up and becoming. You said up and becoming.
You're an up-and-coming comedian, right? Yeah.
Nah, you know, I'm a full-time comedian, 24/7.
Ain't that's the truth, man. Chris, man, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, though. But before we get into that, though, man, what have you been up to since the last episode? Man, last week, January the 6th, man, what's going on with this ride? Tell me a little bit about, like, what was your thoughts when you first saw that on TV?
All right, I'm just going to tell you like this. I know I might make a lot of people mad about this, but, you know, that's what this show is about, the truth. But, so I'm not going to say if I'm Republican or Democrat. It really don't matter. But the way that I feel, especially being federal law, well, a retired federal law enforcement, I feel it don't matter if it was BLM, it don't matter if it was a Democrat, it don't matter if it was a Republican, but the minute when you storm a federal building, you should be dealt with 100%. Now, me, myself, I wouldn't have been that black guy that was running up the stairs. I know everybody's seen that video. I probably would have either been dead as hell because I've been fighting somebody's ass, or either somebody would have been laid out. You know, I wouldn't have been running up no stairs.
Yeah.
And that's just not me, you know, because first off, the way I feel is being law enforcement, our job is to protect people, not run from situations.
Right.
You know, if somebody's shooting up the inside of your house, I know this might sound crazy, but I'm going to run inside your house with my gun and I'm going to try to take out that threat.
Yeah.
But as far as if you pay attention to it, okay, so first you had Trump and he gave his speech. Okay. At that time, everything was 100% legal. All right. He also gave them approval to march down the street. Okay. So we know that was 100% okay. You know, because I'm sure the president wouldn't tell nobody to march down the street to their death. Well, I don't know.
Who knows?
Trump might. Who the hell knows? He might. But the thing is, everything was legal until they started busting out windows and getting into the Capitol. And to me, it should we should be having some funerals. Well, we shouldn't be having no funeral, but somebody should be having some funerals. I hate to sound all bad and wrong, but you know, here go our congressmen, our senators. To me, they're just as more important as the president.
I would agree.
You know, because the president can't do shit unless Congress, you know, agree on it. Mm. So to me, they're way more important than the president. Also, there are elected people that comes from different states. So, you know, I just feel that they should have been protected way more than they was protected. All right, we all know that the government's understaffed right now also. And by the videos, we learned that a lot of government workers are scared of fighting, too. Except for me, because I would have kicked some ass. But we, as a voter myself, I just feel that everybody who was out there was wrong when they started busting in that building. Okay, as far as the beginning, I think that they, you know, everybody to free speech. But also, you got to remember with that, also because if repercussions come with it. You know, yeah, our forefathers gave us the right to say whatever we want to say. But if I turn around and say, well, Aaron is a racist and he does this and he does that. Okay, so if it wasn't true, Aaron has the right to take me to court and sue the hell out of me, and most likely a judge gonna rule on his behalf. Mm-hmm. But you do have the freedom of speech,
right?
But as far as what happened in Washington D.C., you know, some people should have been getting their ass whooped. But that just shows how the world is. So what you think about it, Aaron?
Man, like, it took me like almost later that night, man, because I was actually working like when it was actually taking place, and I just turned on YouTube to catch a few videos because I was watching like my timeline on Facebook. I know I saw your statement that you made and a few others. Okay, like, so what's all this fuss that's going on? And then, like, lo and behold, I'm looking at the video on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, so these are all people that are just bombarding the White House. And first thing I'm saying to myself is, that should have been probably one of the most guarded buildings in all of the United States. And I couldn't believe it. The first thing I said to myself was, like, these idiots, for one, they're showing the whole world how vulnerable we are. So if somebody really, really wanted to get at us like that, like, you know, they just gave them the blueprint on how to do it. You agree with that, Chris?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. So it kind of showed us like it was how much of a week. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, okay, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good, Chris.
But everybody on the show, I want you, if you have Netflix, I don't remember if it's Netflix, Flix, or Hulu, look up a show called Designated Survivor. And that show, basically, the Capitol got blew up on that TV show, and it left the Designated Survivor, which was he was in charge of HUD. And usually that's what they do as designated survivors. They'll take somebody that's like a small person that's not much important, like a person in the part that's in charge of HUD.
Right.
And after the Capitol building got blew up and all these people got blew up, the vice president, all the congressmen, all the senators, they made him president. And so with that being said, what do you think should have happened at that Capitol building that day? Right?
Right.
Don't you think it should have been a whole lot of head cracking and everything else?
I think they went a little bit too light on those people, man.
Yeah, they did. But thank God for our FBI. They are catching these people and they're doing what they're supposed to do.
And rest in peace, man, to Officer Brian Sicknick, man, the New Jersey native and military veteran who was basically struck in the head by a fire extinguisher. Man, dude, like, we lost lives that day, man. Like, this was totally unnecessary. What would you say to people who say this was basically the same thing as what we did with the protests with the Black Lives Matter movement? Like, can you even compare that to what?
Oh my goodness! No, I don't think you can really compare it to it. Because if you think, who got killed? I don't remember anybody getting killed during Black Lives Matter protests, right?
No.
Do you remember hearing it?
Okay. Sorry, I do not.
So it wasn't nothing. Exactly, it wasn't nothing like Black Lives Matter. Also, we know that with the Black Lives Matter protest, we know there was a whole lot of people that basically didn't have anything to do with Black Lives Matter, but they was going around busting windows and doing all this extra stuff and so forth. But as far as what happened in D.C. just recently, these was all crazy people just decided they wanted to storm the Capitol.
Yeah.
You know? But that just shows how our world is right now. Black Lives Matter, if I remember, we had all kind of government law enforcement that didn't even have police on their shirts or whatever, yanking people up in black minivans and everything. Yeah. But I didn't see nobody out there getting yanked up.
No.
So this is the world we're dealing with today. You know, it's funny because today, all right, years ago, they just about had to hide racism. But now, people just blatantly, now since our president that's about to leave, people blatantly are racist now.
Well, who made it popular to be racist?
Oh, I really do think it was the president.
Our commander in chief.
You know,
he made it cool.
He flat. Yeah, he made it cool. It's like cool as hell to be racist now. You know, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in which I think that I know that it takes a deal with a president that's doing stuff like that. But when you have a president that's telling his people to rise up against the country that he's supposed to be in charge of, it's time that some criminal action starts. That's just like
after he leaves office, like what could he actually be charged for, Chris? Because you're a former law enforcement man. What could they actually hit him with?
Well, I'm just gonna say like this. Okay, so we're already. Right now Congress is trying to impeach him. You and I both know that he's not going to get impeached. You know, the senators they're not going to go for it because right now it's Republican.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as he leave being president, he still has a lot of protection. Or not. He still is not a regular citizen.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So it's going to be hard for the United States to even prosecute him. So most likely nothing's going to happen to him. Have you ever heard of a president get hit?
Say that again, Chris. Your phone broke up.
Have you heard of a president being sent to prison for something that they done?
No.
No? Okay, so that show you right there what's going to happen. Nothing. You know, so that should answer your question right there, because we done had a whole lot of presidents that done some illegal stuff, and they was out of office and still nothing happened to them. You know, that's one of your highest ranking. I would say, just as an example, that's our commander in chief. So you know he can do whatever he want to do. He flat out said that he could shoot somebody in front of everybody and nothing happened to him. So which is true.
On January 20th. On January 20th is our inauguration day for our new president of the United States to take office. Should we be concerned from the things that you've seen, your analysis on everything? Should we be concerned for some type of like violent riot to take place like on that day, like around the country?
You know, I think I wouldn't say a national riot, but I do picture some stuff going down. It's going to be a whole lot of crazy stuff that's going to happen, but no, I don't think on the national level. But who knows? Who knows? It might be something that happened because these guys lately have been very organized. You know, they have been really organized.
You were saying that they were doing like military, like almost covert op like type movement, man. Like, you know, signals with their hand signs and stuff like that. Like, you know, how deep is this stuff on like the dark web of them plotting and, you know, things like that? Because they actually said that some of the Senate, like, they were actually going to try to basically take their lives. Like, man, like, dude.
Yeah. Look at Pelosi. I always call her Auntie Pelosi, you know.
Nancy Pelosi.
And then I call him Uncle Trump. yeah, Nancy. I just say Auntie Nancy and Uncle Trump. But, you know, I really believe that they was going to do something to her, you know. But if you look at, did you see who they yanked out of the building first? Well, who they yanked out of the room first?
Who was it?
They didn't even, it was, what's his name? Is it McConnell? How you say his name?
Mitch
the
McConnell?
Guy that's, if I remember right, they yanked him up out of there first. And, if I remember, I don't even remember them yanking Nancy up out of there. You know, I mean, I don't know where the hell they was yanking him to, but they ended up yanking him out first. And then if you watch the videos and the clips, because a lot of them was in there recording too, those senators and congressmen were scared inside there, and they were clearly crying, and they was crying and everything. And then when they finally almost got into the room, you seen all the guys with the gun, the Capitol Police, and all them with the guns pointed at the door.
Right.
But you know, it's crazy. As federal law enforcement, we are very. It's hard for us to do our without any type of repercussions. Like, I'm sure you'd have heard about Border Patrol, how you'd have had Border Patrol agents that was being shot at, and they end up shooting the person that was shooting at them, and they end up getting time in prison.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so really a lot of law enforcement is scared to do their job.
They're scared?
You know, and that's probably why that guy was... Yeah, because that's probably the reason why that guy was running up the stairs, because he knew that if he would have pulled his gun out and shot one of those guys, he'd have been sitting in front of... He would have been indicted really quick, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just sorry I wouldn't have been running. I've probably been swinging that baton, and I've been taking out some heads and everything. But who knows? I mean, I wasn't there, so we all have that fight or flight, and maybe he had the flight at the moment, you know. So I wasn't there, so I really can't judge him too much.
Should Joe Biden, he fear for his life on the 20th? Chris?
Well, I really think the Secret Service got him. They're going to have him behind so many bulletproof glass and all that stuff. I really think he's going to be well taken care of. Now, he should be scared. I mean, he should be scared throughout his whole term.
That's what I think, because like the way things is now, man, he's more at risk of losing his life than Barack Obama was when he was actually running his term. Like, I mean, the way things are now, man,
exactly.
Like, Biden is like, I mean, he should be really fearful for his life.
Exactly. And it's funny because the people, like when Obama was in, I'm sure you still had those same security threat groups, you know, those domestic terrorists.
Right.
But now you got these guys that, like you said before, that's trained. They've been training like all year for stuff like this. And, you know, I hate to say it, but a lot of them guys have all kind of assault weapons and so forth. You know, so, and they know how to shoot.
Yeah.
You know, how many, I hate to sound racist, but a lot of your white guys, shit, they hunt every chance they get.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, us black guys, we I barely go to the shooting range. A lot of us do.
Well, no, I wouldn't say there's a lot of African Americans, well, in North Carolina that are part of hunting clubs and they hunt. I guess it just depends on what part of the country you're at, but yeah, certain parts of the South, there's a bunch of African American males that, you know, have hunting clubs and things like that where they hunt. But, you know, but to what you were saying, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. And you know, something else I said to somebody, and this is off the subject a little bit, but you know, I really do think that it's time for us to put term limits on everybody. I'm talking about on the senators, the congressmen, well, which congressmen already have term limits.
Go into more detail as to what you mean by that.
You know, when we mean term limits, you know how a congressman stays in office so long and then you elect a new congressman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but then with the Senate, you have all these old guys that's almost 60 years old, 70 years old, that's been senators for whoever knows how long. And it's also like those federal chief justices you have. You know, they stay in office till they pass away and so forth. But I believe that there need to be term limits on everything, because for the simple fact, it's already 2021.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's time for the younger generation to start getting in those positions. You know, a lot of those guys that's 60 and 65 years old, they're still stuck in the old days. Yeah. They're still thinking about, you know, slavery and everything else. Yeah. Well, maybe not slavery, but they're still in those old times. So it's time that these young people step up and start taking these offices. I know that we have a lot of young congressmen now, but still, it's time for a younger person to do so. It wouldn't have hurt my feelings to see like a young president, maybe 30 years old or something like that. You know.
Well, what about Kennedy? How old was he when he actually won office? John F. Kennedy. How old was he? I actually thought he was a pretty young president.
I think he was younger, but if I remember, what was he like 50 something?
That's a good question, man. Let me see if I can research it real quick.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it's close to 50. He was maybe 40 something to 50 something. That's a big old gap.
Yeah, he was actually 43 years. 43 years, 236 days at his inauguration. So, yeah, about 43 years old.
Yeah. I mean, so basically he was younger, so let's put somebody in there 30 something in, I guess.
But at the age of 30, though, Chris, how much experience do they actually have at like 30 years old, though, when you think about it? Like, what have they experienced at that age range? You get what I'm saying?
They haven't too much experienced life, but you do have people, let's see, they get out of school around 18, 19, or around 17, 18, or 19.
Right.
So you have some people that go straight into college and go straight into law school, and they might be done with law school at 27 or whatever. And then after they finish with law school, then, they practice for a little while, and then they, I think it'll be, okay, maybe not 30. Let's say like 35. But then you got to also remember that in the federal government, like in law enforcement, you retire after 20 to 25 years. So, and you can't even get hired after the age of 37 unless they do some type of waiver.
What, you mean to start like a law enforcement career?
Yeah, well, law enforcement and federal law enforcement. After 37 years old, you can't apply for a federal law enforcement job unless you get a waiver. And usually waivers are for people. Let's say you got a guy that's 45 or whatever, and he want to be like a chief of police or something like that. All right, so they'll give him a waiver because they usually want to have an older person that's a chief of police. Federal chief of police or whatever. But that's basically the only way that you're going to be able to get that waiver.
Didn't know that.
But, yeah, so if you go to jobs and look at the age limit, you'll usually see 37 as being the cutoff. But that's something else that we need to instill on younger black kids right
What's that?
now. We need to explain to them. That it's jobs out here. It ain't no need for you to be doing all this and all this, being on Facebook with guns and drugs, and everybody want to be a rapper. Majority of your young kids want to be rappers now.
Right.
But we need to get that out of their heads and be like, hey, look, y'all need to be some doctors. Y'all need to be some lawyers. And we need to instill that in our kids. My son, I really try to get him. I say, hey, when you turn 18 and you graduate, why don't you go like to college and do something like be a lawyer or something like that? But instead, he want to be a Marine. So, okay, I'm not gonna fight you on that. You can be a Marine.
How many military? How many military family members do you have in your family, Chris?
Okay, so my dad, my brother. Well, both. Okay, I got 3 brothers, and 2 of them was in the military, and my dad was in the military. And then, if I'm right, my grandpa was in the military. Now, I didn't go to the military, but I still feel the federal law enforcement is just like being in the military.
Yeah.
But I started off working for a federal prison, and after so many years there, I got promoted. And then a few years after being promoted to a senior officer specialist, I was promoted to basically special investigation, and that's where I dealt with gangs and anything that happened inside the institution, like staff members bringing in drugs or a visitor bringing in drugs. And then I've done that for maybe like 2 years. And then I said, you know what? I'm tired of being behind these walls. And it's funny because as a corrections officer, it's just like you being an inmate.
You feel that way?
You're up in that. Yeah, I mean, when you're then a correction officer, yeah, you do your 8 and hit the gate, but still, the whole time you're there, it's just like you being in jail. You know, you stay in one place because I've done my share of working in housing units, so you can't leave that house. You got your inmates in there, but I've done that for so long, and then I transferred to another job, and then I decided I was leaving. And thank God for him blessing me with being able to leave.
Yeah.
But, I ended up with a lot of medical issues behind my job. And a lot of my medical issues had to do with...
did it come from stress, or what did it come from?
No, my job wasn't stressful at all.
Oh, wow.
I really love my job.
Being a federal officer wasn't stressful. Wow, I'm surprised you said that. It wasn't stressful.
No, it wasn't stressful at all. My biggest part was dealing with like my supervisors and coworkers. That was my bad part.
You guys couldn't see eye to eye on things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. When you got an African American, especially a young African American, that started law enforcement, federal law enforcement, when he was, I think I applied for the job when I was 17. And then when I turned 18, I was about 17 and a half, and I got hired for the job. And my first year, the warden wouldn't even let me work inside the institution. I worked on basically I was always in the phone room and stuff like that. And then after I turned 18, they put me in a housing unit. But as far as the stressful part, it wasn't nothing stressful to me. I know some inmates can get violent, but you're stupid. If I see somebody getting stabbed, I'm not going to jump in the middle of the night.
Have you ever been involved in an altercation at that time? Were you ever involved with one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's normal. That's normal being a corrections officer. You're going to always be involved in some kind of altercation that's happening, because basically when something happened inside the institution, everybody that's not holding a position, they're going to respond to whatever call, like somebody's getting stabbed. Everybody's going to respond. Every altercation that I've been involved in, it was already people there, and you basically put cuffs on somebody to help escort somebody. Because I was one of the guys, so with me being one of the bigger guys, I always ended up at the front of everything. Even if it was a whole lot of people in the front fighting the inmate, they always end up pushing me to the front of the line. But
oh, man. Were you ever fearful of your life?
It's funny because No. Like I said, I went to work every day and I prayed before I left. But I always prayed that I come home to my family. And it's crazy because God always took care of me.
Yeah.
I never had any problems. I never had any problems with anybody I dealt with. The community and the people that was either in jail. But as far as like staff members, have any problems, because really it's at the prison you had a mixture of people. You had African Americans, you had Caucasians, you had everybody. But when I went to my new job, I was the only black guy at my whole department. And believe me, I felt it all the way from the beginning. Yeah, the entire department. And my understanding with my first...
Do you think that reason for that is because of your demographics of where you were actually located? Because you're in... what state are you in, Chris?
I'm in Arkansas right now, but I'm in South Dakota. I had... when I transferred, I was working in Louisiana, and then I got transferred to South Dakota, North Dakota, when I went to my new job. But it didn't have nothing to do with the demographics. I say it didn't have nothing to do. Hold on one second. But the reason why I say it didn't have nothing to do with the gender, because when they hire somebody for the job, like Caucasian guys, one of them was from Virginia and another one was from Texas, and that's basically like 3 or 4 Caucasian guys, and the rest of them was like Native American. But like I said, I was the only African American. And first off, you got to remember that I had already been working for the government for maybe 10 years. Not say about 12 or 13 years before I even went to that job.
Oh, wow.
So I already knew the policy, already knew everything that being a federal employee. I think one of my biggest mistakes was I turned around and I started the union at my new job, because a lot of people knew that they had a union, but they didn't. Nobody never signed up because the union was a teachers union. You know, instead of it being like a law enforcement union, it was a union that was for teachers.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why our union was a teachers union. So I became very, I became very involved in that. Because the reason why was I was getting treated so bad that I wanted to help other people that was being treated bad. And so with that came hate from my supervisors, hate from my other co-workers, and hate from, the higher-ups.
Were you expecting that from them? Did it take you by surprise?
No, believe it or not, I wasn't expecting that because, the town that I come from, it's a mixture of people. We got whites, we got Hispanics, we got everything. But also in the town that I come from, it's divided in half by train tracks. And you got part of town that they call Black Town, which where all majority of the black people stay. No white people stay over there. And then on the other side of town is, that's Ward 4 also. Uh-huh. And then Ward 3 had a mixture of black and white people. And then 1 and 2 was majority white people, the upper class people. Mm-hmm. But, I didn't expect that because I thought working around Native Americans, I thought that they hated white people. That's what I thought. But the first run-in that I had that I considered as being racist was we had a basketball tournament. And they was like, hey, Reed, you need to be in the basketball tournament because you're black and all that. And I'm like, listen to this, man. First off, I don't play no damn basketball. And second off, I don't rap. I love rap, but I don't rap.
Yeah.
And I said, third off, I'm not going to be run up and down no damn court for y'all.
Yeah.
And then they didn't like the fact of that also. They was like, oh, well, he think he's too good and all that stuff. But the part that really broke the camel's back, and then I'm going to let you talk after this, but we had a guy that came up missing. And it was a guy that came up missing. It was snows during the time. Yeah, he came up missing. But it was a whole lot of snow everywhere. If you've never been to South Dakota or North Dakota or you ever heard about it, it's known for all the snow. Mm-hmm. And I was basically trying to explain to our supervisor, which was the special agent in charge, and I was trying to explain to him that we had worked a case where some kids had stole a truck from a church. And and it was on federal property, so therefore that made it a federal crime. And so I turned around and they was like, well, it was 3 kids. And we found 2 of the kids, but the third kid we never found. So, I put 2 and 2 together and I was like, damn, so we never found this third kid, never heard anything about him. I bet you some money that kid had left walking. And when he left walking, he ended up, because the way that it happened with the other kids was they left walking, and as they're walking, they said that they started getting tired, so they sit down for a while, try to walk, and then they seen a light, and they started walking toward that light. ever been out at nighttime or in the snow at nighttime, you'll see a light and it'll look like it's close, but really that light is maybe a mile or 2 miles away. Well, when you're walking a mile or 2 miles away in the snow and you're already tired from your leg being in the snow and so forth, you're already cold, it's hard for you to do. Well, one of the kids ended up sitting down. He ended up taking off his shoes. I don't know why, but that was the kid that came up missing. Well, we done a big search, and it was in a whole nother town that we was doing the big search in. And I was trying to explain to the supervisor that, hey, y'all ain't gonna find him around here. I said, that kid is somewhere where that truck.
So your instincts had already kicked in to let them know that, you know. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because I put 2 and 2 together, but we were sitting in this big group, and we had some white guys that had some cadaver dogs, you know, that looked for basically somebody that's deceased. And we're sitting at this table, we're eating dinner, waiting, you know, for everybody to start back searching. And just out the blue, my boss was like, you know, I like Reed, but sometimes I want to hang him from a tree. So when he said
stop
that,
playing, bro.
at the time,
stop playing.
Yeah. Look, if I'm lying, this truck will blow up right now. And I'm sure this truck ain't going to blow up. But he said that if I like Reed, but sometimes I want to hang him from a tree.
Jesus
so I turned
Christ.
around after that, and I got up. Well, I didn't even report it because I already knew the situation. One of my coworkers ended up reporting it. Well, when he did it, my life got 100 times worse. You know, they started doing a little investigation, but it was the investigation was done by the higher ups that knew this chief. You know, in which the job that I worked, the chief was considered a special agent. But they didn't find nothing wrong with the situation, so I ended up filing an EEOC. And once I filed that EEOC, they sent me off. They sent me like 2 hours away. They didn't even let me. I had a dog at my house. They didn't even let me take my dog. My dog ended up dying because nobody wasn't feeding him.
Oh, man.
Because they made me leave right then. Yeah. My house ended up getting broken into. A lot of my stuff got stolen out of my house. My barbecue grill got taken, and you know how we are about our barbecue grills. But, yeah, and after my barbecue grill got stolen, I tried to get it back from the people I found out who stole it, and the same boss told me if I go over there, I was gonna get rolled up and all this stuff and put under investigation by internal affairs. But anyway, let's jump back to the missing kid. Well, after all of that, they end up searching where I told them to search it, and they found the kid. I didn't get no congratulations. I didn't get no job. I didn't get no kudos or anything. Well, I didn't expect it, but I basically solved the case. But since I was African American, I was the only one. They didn't give me anything. You know, so after I filed that EEOC and they started doing their investigation and stuff started getting really, really bad. So I ended up contacting the Office of Special Counsel. All right, if you ever heard of the Office of Special Counsel, they deal with whistleblowers. So anybody who reports somebody stealing some money from the government or something of that nature, you basically become a whistleblower after you report it. And the OSC turned around and put a request to the agency. They wanted every email that came from like my boss and all them. And I even had contacted a senator for South Dakota, which was a Republican senator, but he ended up helping me more. He ended up helping me more than the EEOC did. It's like the EEOC was 100% against me, but the OSC got something back with their information request. The only thing that I remember is they told me that I needed to go home to my parents' house, and they was like, we mean you need to go home now. To this day, I don't know what that email said, but I didn't even pack my shit up. I just came straight to my parents' house, and then later on, I ended up winning that EEOC, and I went back and got all my stuff. And then they ended up sending me somewhere else, and I ended up filing another EEOC for that. So I basically filed 3 EEOCs already. Wow. Now, right now, I still have a pending EEOC.
How long has you been in pending status?
You know, okay, so it's been like 2 years, and we had a hearing maybe about 4 months ago. We had a hearing, and when I tell you this, you're gonna laugh. But at the hearing, the agency didn't even show up to the hearing. Okay, we understand that CO, the coronavirus. Okay, but the hearing was not in person. It was over the phone. And when you have an EEOC hearing for the government, the way that it operates is they have to set up a conference line. And once they set up a conference line, they have to give all the information to us and the judge and then the agency. And we all call in on the same line. And it's not like court, but it's similar to court, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like I said, the agency didn't show up to the hearing, nor did they ever set up a conference line. And so the judge turned around and done a no-show. What it's called? Basically, she done an order of no-show to show, and then she done one to show cause, basically saying that she wanted to know the reason why they didn't show up. They didn't even respond to the first one. So then she done another one. They responded to the second one. All right, and so their excuse for not showing up to the hearing was that they didn't have enough attorneys. And somehow they didn't even know my case was coming up. You know better than I do that any law firm has a program or some type of system that shows when they got to be in court or what cases are coming up. If
Exactly.
A law firm don't have that, something's wrong, especially a government law firm when their whole job at the solicitor's office, well, majority of their job is to deal with complaints and lawsuits and stuff like that. Well, after they put in their excuse, I end up doing a motion for a default judgment. All right, so I really thought on this because I was like, okay, so the judge is going to rule for my default judgment, and then we asked for basically a hearing to discuss my damages. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Our judge was an African American. I'm not going to give her name on here because it's still pending, I guess. But it was an African American female judge. When I looked her up on the internet and basically done a search on her, I found out that she was basically a new EEOC judge, administrative judge, and she was completely new. Well, to make it short, we're going to say it like this. The judge didn't rule in my favor. The judge ruled in the agency and said that the agency didn't do anything wrong, even though there's a federal law that says that that a government agency cannot use manpower as an excuse in a pending equal opportunity or hearing or whatever. But this judge done it anyway. And then also we found out that she ended up, okay, you know what ex parte means? Have you ever heard of that?
Say that again.
Communication. It's called ex parte communication,
No.
which basically means that if me and you went to court, the judge cannot communicate with you unless I'm there also. Did that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Because that would show bias, right? Because if the judge is talking to you without me being there, that means that you and the judge got something going. You know, not going like whatever, but going as far as why is he only talking to you? But this female judge turned around and she had communicated with the agency and basically told them that they needed to get an attorney for the case. And she also said stuff to them. And it was funny. You'll think that with her being administrative judge, that she would have had enough sense to just send the order to attaching her email string. But she attached her email string, what showed all this stuff that she had done. But the thing is, what can you do to a federal administrative judge that basically broke the law of having ex parte communication? It's not basically nothing you can do unless you ask her to recluse herself But 9 out of 10, if you tell that judge that you don't want her on the hearing anymore, what's going to happen is you're going to get a new judge that's going to know that you've done that to her, and you're still going to lose. But what the crazy thing is about the whole process is the EEOC is, to me, this is how I see any government agency that's in charge of dealing with discrimination. They have to have something in place to basically make us they're doing something, when really they're not doing shit for us. You know, because you and I both know that if that would have happened in like out here in the community and a judge done that or whatever, what you think would have happened? They would have had a law against them. Mm-hmm. But the way that the EEO system is set up with federal employees, you don't have no chance of doing anything. And they can basically do you whatever way they want to. To me, the EEOC is nothing but a joke, you know. And then if you take it to federal court, which is supposed to be a jury of your peers, you're most likely going to get some people that could care less about your case, and you're still doing it. So basically, I'm just sitting in limbo right now. We spoke about that on the 11th, but I'm sure that I'm going to get treated really, really bad at that hearing. But what I done was I started everything myself at first. But then after maybe a month, I became friends with this lady, and she used to be a federal EEOC judge. And basically, she had to sue the EEOC, and she ended up winning $100,000. But she became my attorney, and she didn't charge me one single cent. So hopefully, with her knowing the policies and the laws and so forth, hopefully she would get me something. But you know, it's funny because right now I'm at the point, it's just been going on so long that I could care less about it. If they was like, hey, we want to settle for $20,000, I'll probably take it because I really just want to stop dealing with them. Yeah. Anyway, if we talked about my case all day, we'll be talking for like 2 or 3 weeks. So let's finish with this show.
You're good, man. You're good. That was some really good insight once again, Chris, man. You kind of said it all, man. I don't have too much to say, but yeah, we definitely gotta bring you back again, man. Hopefully next month, man, to do some more segments. Yo, what you thinking about doing the prank calls, man? How do you feel about doing that?
Oh man, that'd be really neat right there.
Do you think you can write your own pranks, or do you think we may need to get them and you just play them out? How do you think we should do it?
Well, I can write my own Yeah, we can do our own pranks. I think I can write some stuff out. But I know one thing, we ain't going to prank my mama, because they prone to act the fool, and they prone to say some stuff that I don't want people to know about. So,
okay, well, we won't prank them.
Find somebody to prank.
Okay, but yeah, man, we're going to get back on that, though, for real. Because I was thinking about when you were saying prank calls, I was like, we definitely need to try to get into doing that. So you thinking about actually getting some equipment, man?
Yeah, I already bought some equipment. I just recently bought it.
Okay.
So I paid $600, and I got 2 mics. I got everything, basically.
So to the listeners, like Chris is actually thinking about, well, he's probably going to go ahead and get his own podcast show. So we're going to definitely try to train him and get him going in the industry and just see where this goes. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see. So yeah, a good, exciting times, man.
Yeah, it's exciting times. And you know, right now is the best time for anybody to start some kind of business or anything.
It is.
You know, it's a lot of money getting through out there right now. Yeah,
it is. I totally agree with you on that.
You know, because I even I've done a little bit of wholesaling. Have you ever heard of wholesaling?
Yeah.
It's basically, okay, yeah, you already know, but for the listeners, it's basically a way of doing real estate without a real estate license, which is 100% legal. You will have some people say it's not legal, but basically you're not selling the house per se. You're selling the contract that you've written up for the house. You know, it's 100% legal to sell a contract. But you have to put something down. Something of value has to be traded in order for that contract to be valid. And that's a good way for people to make money. Just on 2 houses alone, I end up making like $10,000. And the only thing I done was talk to the homeowner, and then I contacted somebody to buy the home, buy the contract. And shit, $10,000. You can't beat that.
All right, so yeah, we definitely got to save that topic for another show, man. We that's some good stuff right there. That's some really good stuff right there. So that's another important show we definitely got to do with you, man, for sure. I'm pretty sure listeners want to hear that and see how they can dig into that.
Yeah, I get some people together to help talk on the show too, because I know a whole lot of people as far as that.
All right.
And what I really would like people to hear is from a lady I know named Tanya Ward, which deals with discrimination and stuff. And I would love for her to talk on the show.
Oh, well, yeah. Get in touch with me, man, and we can make it happen for sure. Yeah, we can make it happen for sure.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, listen, Chris, man, I know you're a busy man, so I know I had to let you kind of talk quite a bit here, man. I ain't mean to let you talk that much. I was trying to get some insight, but you was just providing so much good stuff on there.
Yeah.
All right. If listeners want to get in touch with you, Chris, how can they get in touch with you, man?
Okay. All right. Well, you take care. If you need anything,
no, Chris. I'm asking for the listeners, man. If they need to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
Oh.
You hungry or something? Trying to rush off?
No, I'm gonna tell you what. Look, I just made some gumbo up in the house, and then I fried some chicken with the gumbo. I don't know what chicken and gumbo going together, but I got to thinking about that just then. But the only way they can contact me is through Facebook, which is Chris Reed, in which you're not gonna never find me because Aaron, you couldn't even find me. But also you can look on where you find me at, Aaron. Was on Instagram.
No, you emailed me first.
I think it was Instagram.
No, you emailed me first.
Okay, yeah, I emailed you.
From LinkedIn, maybe somewhere like that.
Yeah. It was back when I was in my stripping days. I used to be a stripper. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I was an exotic stripper. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I don't know how they can get in touch with me. Just off of Facebook or look on Instagram.
Well, I'll just tell them they just reach out to me, and then I'll just pass the information along.
Yeah,
we'll do it that way.
Yeah, and if they need any information as far as discrimination or something like that, I love talking to people about stuff like that. But I'm not a lawyer.
Nor does it play one on TV.
But yeah, nor was I on TV, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, so
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, good deal, man. Good deal. All right, this has been another episode of the Droematic Show podcast. I'm your host, Droematic, and for Chris Reed, we signing out. Peace.
You've just listened to the Droematic Show podcast with your host, Droematic.